can hear that? At the beginning of this week, the universe is whispering, get nourished, home girl. And I'm going to tell you why. Welcome to the Astrocast for the week of May 18th through the 24th. I'm your host, Teresa Ann, where I help you feel seen by the stars to help you feel supported in creating your soul life. The life your soul wants you to live. The one you were made for. So this week, the top of the week, we start on Moon Day Monday, with Cancer being the vibes. We'll have that for a couple of days. Now, if you remember to last week, we were in Taurus season. The moon was in Taurus when we had our new moon toward the end of the week. And then we slid into Gemini, and our voice was one of our themes. Well, the thing about Gemini is there's the voice in here, there's the voice out there, it's competing, there's messages in here, messages out there about what we should do. There's a lot of communication and ideas as potentials. And it could have left us at the end of the week really wondering, what is the thing I should do? What does my voice want to say? What is my message? And the thing about that is there's a whole nother paradigm that it's calling for. Those are kind of some surface level questions or thoughts, another Gemini idea, Gemini. As we move into the week, we're going to do something different with that voice that will hopefully put things all together for you. Now, at the end of the week, we also had Taurus season last week, remember, Taurus new moon, where we were seeding our ideas. We're going to bring a little bit of that flavor in this week, but a whole nother game changer is going to happen. As we start the week in Cancer, we're going from voice to heart. That whole thing about voice, it was really to kind of get the fire going, get the airiness going, get the fire stoked about what's in the ethers, like what is the unseen that wants to come through. So we had a whole lot of elements all kind of mixing up their little potion behind the scenes to kind of bring the magic in that's happening this week. The beginning of the week, I think, is crucial that we start off on the right foot, or maybe the right, what is it when we have a crab? We have this crab that, it's like a claw, right? It's like, grab onto what is truly yours. Let go of what is not. And you might notice, a crab doesn't walk in a linear line. They kind of scuttle to the left and they scuttle to the right, and that's kind of how they move, right? And so it's a really good reminder to kind of like slow down. Are we going to do a pivot? Are we going to just kind of rest in the sand for a minute? Are we feeling the ocean tide kind of washing over? It's like, what's going on there, right? Well, this Cancer energy also is quite mother-like, right? It's got those like claws that can kind of almost be a protective mechanism, right? And the shell that's kind of protective, and yet on the inside, it's really soft and decadent, right? And a bit delicate, right? And so that's kind of the place that we're starting this week. So like, let's take a minute, right? Like, let's take a sip of the goodness. Let's just like stop right here in the moment. What was the thing going on last week? Where are you now? Let's bring it into this space, that mothering vibe. How are we gonna maybe mother ourselves today, right? So like, come on into the mothership, right? To get the guidance and the nurturing and the nourishment that is here for us at the beginning of this week. Take a sip, bring your intentions in. As we investigate this bridge of becoming, this portal of becoming, this bridge of manifestation, okay? Bring yourself fully present to this moment, because not only do we have the moon in Cancer the first couple of days of the week, we have Venus. We have Venus, the goddess energy, moving into Cancer until June 13th. So we've got it this week and we've got it for a minute. That Cancer vibe in Venus, right? It's our soul desires, our honest and true soul desires, our values. That is where our creation wants us to come from. That is where our soul wants us to rest. We want to be guided by that. We want to feel nourished by that, so that what we create gets to keep feeling that way, right? And so what is that place? Where is that place where you feel fully known in yourself? You know, when no one's watching, what does your voice want to speak then, right? What do you want to talk about all day long? What do you want to speak on? If there was no money to be made, if there were no shoulds out there ruling your life, right? What do you want to speak on? What are the thoughts in your head that are the real thoughts that would be there if there wasn't any influence from the outside? What would truly feel nourishing to do every day, even though our belief system, the mindset, might not believe we can do that all day, because there's the 3D reality that we need to show up and be responsible for to hopefully then be able to do the things, right? Like this is the juxtaposition. This is sort of the creative tension that's there. Now, some of you have been telling me over this last week and the end into the week, coming into this week, you've been doing some creative things. You've been having some light bulbs go off. You've been then kind of moving into this energy of, well, I'm really excited about what I'm creating, but maybe I don't feel like creating right now as we're moving into the beginning of the week. And that's okay. It's Cancer time. It's nourishment time. It's create a home for yourself with what's in here, and just hold that, feel that. Even create nests maybe in your home space that can be the reminders that your mindset will connect to help you to be tending to that which is really valuable for you, that which is really beautiful to you, Venus, so that you can live in the beauty that is you, doing what you came here to do, living the life you came here to live, okay? And then we have Mars going into Taurus, which I think is a beautiful thing, because we're going to be jumping into Gemini season soon. And being able to slow down, because it's going to start to get thick, probably, with ideas, messages, voices in here, out there. And if we can kind of prime the pump at the beginning of the week, right? This is about frequency work. Let's take this off surface level about what's my message supposed to be? How do I use my voice in the world? This is about a whole update of our system. This is about an upgrade in your vibration and in your frequency. If you're looking out there and you're finding these things are just, oh, that's so beautiful, it's reflecting the beauty that's in you, honey, right? And so while things are going to maybe start to be moving fast, we've got a couple things that can slow our roll at the beginning of the week. Besides Venus being in Cancer, and she'll stay with us with that nurturing vibe. So we've got beauty, we've got our values, what we hold truly beautiful in the world, what our values are. We're going to be kind of held like a mothering ourselves through the next couple weeks, kind of on the back end. Everyone might not see that on the out there, because we'll have other things going on. We also will have Mars going into Taurus, which will really help us ground. Remember last week, we were tending to what we wanted to create long term, what we felt we could sustain, right? So the fire of Mars, which is normally like, what am I standing for? What's worth fighting for? What's my mission? Spiritual warriorship, not in a way that we're having battle, right? But that we're standing in something, that we have volition. It's about drive. It's about what truly motivates us, right? Well, it slid into Taurus, and it's going to be there even longer than Venus will be in Cancer. We've got that going on, Mars into Taurus, to almost the end of next month, right? So Taurus is also kind of a feminine energy. So on the back end here, we're going to have these feminine kind of archetypes holding to our beauty, holding to our values, or what we find beautiful, what we find valuable. And we're going to be slowing our fire that would normally be Mars into Taurus. So our fire is wanting to be channeled through what we truly want to devote ourselves to. It's about devotion. It's about devotion, building what will last. So we're continuing those themes. And what I see happening here is really trusting the unseen. And remember, we talked about that last week. So like, what are the breadcrumbs that you've been seeing? What have the angels been whispering to you? What signs are out there? Only you know when you're being guided on your path. Are you listening, right? Are you listening to what that is? And then on Wednesday, Mercury Day, after we've nurtured ourselves, nourished ourselves, created home, felt like home in ourselves, maybe made some little nests to remind ourselves of what we want to be doing, how we want to be spending our time throughout the week, then we move in Wednesday, Thursday, some of Friday into Leo. So now we're going from the heart. Remember, we went from voice more to our heart. Now we're going from heart to our radiance. So now we're moving from that nourishing place of home to the red carpet. The red carpet, y'all, because you're a star, right? Like, let your radiance shine. Let your radiance shine even a little bit. We don't have to think of the shoulds. Like, what does this need to look like? What should I be doing? No, find those little morsels of authentic truth in you, what you truly value, what is truly beautiful, what you would do every day on repeat if you didn't have to have any responsibilities in the 3D, because that's the magic, that's the vibration, that's the frequency that will flip the script, that will bring the pieces in to your reality. And it's just a little bit of a fine tune sometimes. Sometimes we don't have to be all that and do all the thing, right? Just like step onto that red carpet, being just a little more you, right? What in your closet could you pull out that would feel like, this is me in my radiance? What crystal could you just tuck in your pocket, right? To just remind you of your radiance, right? Like, what's wanting to bloom, right? What is wanting to bloom in you? Like, let those petals unfurl, knowing you've got the softness of mothering yourself and nurturing yourself, and that nourishment that's another layer, right? And then you've got that Mars in Taurus, that mama bull. She ain't charging. She's standing there. She's just standing there, standing for what she believes in, you know, in all her radiance. This is the program that's inside, that's in here, so that it can be rendered in the out there, right? Because then when we've got those Leo vibes, Thursday, Friday, we have the sun that's gone into Gemini and the season of our voice arriving. It's not so much the cognitive idea of what's my message for the world? How am I going to share my voice this week? It's about what's your transmission? What's your transmission? Notice the downloads, notice the uploads. This is about a whole re-updating. This is about a whole new perspective change, potentially. It's about your inner electromagnetic field. It's about you putting out what you are, even if it's just a little bit more you shining. And then a lot more will come to you. I like to think of this analogy. Oh my goodness, let's grab out the giving our soul the wheel idea. You know, if you get this big boat, like a big Oldsmobile boat, some kind of car that's got this like giant steering wheel, like that we used to drive long, long ago, and you barely turn that wheel, you're not even going to notice a shift in the road, right? I feel like that's the kind of wheel that sometimes people might be steering if they're not very sensitive. They're very surface level. They don't really have much drive for living a sovereign life. You all are not those people. You got this tight little wheel like on a high definition, super technical, in a way that you're so super sensitive, probably. You might be a highly sensitive person. You might be so open to all the clairs. Man, you can see stuff, you can hear stuff, you can feel stuff, you can sense stuff. Like there's so much going on in there that it's like a well-oiled machine. It's like a high performance vehicle. And we're not talking about performing. We're talking about presence. There's performing going on in here, but we're not performing for the world out there, right? One little move in a high level sports car, let's say, we're going off track, right? We don't need to jump from one thing to the other like the Gemini energy of the season might be tempting us to do, right? Let your soul have that wheel, and this is about fine tuning through your choose your own adventure of life in your sovereignty. Slow down, mamacita. Nourish yourself, honey, okay? Because Gemini season can take off. And so we want to be on a slow roll, even though a lot might be going on in here and here. Now, speaking of Venus, earlier in the week, we've got some more Venus going on. It's squaring Neptune. Now, Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, dreams. We've got the Lord, like the trident of the sea with the trident staff, right? Think about the sea, all the emotion in the sea, the deep emotion of Pisces. Some of that might show up. Visionary dreams coming into reality. But the other thing about Neptune is that it likes to dissolve boundaries. Pisces is sometimes thought of like a jellyfish. It can just squeeze in and out of little cracks. It can change its form. It's kind of boundaryless. So this could feel like a boundaryless time, kind of. Plus Gemini, sort of all over the place with thoughts, ideas, and mindset. So it's like you don't want to be too like slippery with the wheel, right? We want to be steadfast. We want to be shining in who we truly are. We want to have that thick skin, that durability to like not lose hold of the reins, right? While we're feeling the softness and the beauty of life that's true in our souls. So we're holding all of this, we're harnessing as we go. So we want to allow Neptune to help us to dissolve any barriers, any limits that we've been taught as we unlearn, as we open to possibilities of like, what can this be? open to what is there for you. For me, I want to feel like I'm having fun every day I go to work. I want to be laughing. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel the innocence of a child. So that's what I'm priming my pump with, right? So that I can not go into some delulu with Neptune about like things I have to do because that's the way I was programmed to and was taught. No, I want sovereign license. I want creative license. I want to be a conscious creator in this, right? Well, that is squaring Venus. So if we let that tension that might arrive toward the end of the week about dreams and illusions and hopefully not delusions, we can come back to the creative tension that wants to help there as we're kind of like squaring off Venus again. Beautiful. What's beautiful to you? What is goddess-like energy to you? What is receiving the riches that we have here, right? This is about create your heaven on earth, right? We're creating it on the earthly plane, but we don't have to follow the so-called rules that we've been given. That might not be truth. Create your own heaven on earth, and that starts at home, girl. That starts with creating a space for you, rolling out that red carpet that only you can walk on with your main creator, main character vibes in your own life. This is about like what magic really turns you on, right? Like feel that, sisters, right? Not every dream is yours to chase, honey. Not every dream. So when the ideas come that you feel that they are dreams, chasing them is not going to be there because then you're not at home. You're trying to go somewhere else. You're trying to be somewhere else. Be you, baby. Because then the dreams come to you that are not delulu but are for you, right? Let your soul sort the real from the illusion. Give your soul the real, the wheel, right? When the things show up in life, as they will during Gemini season, you can say yes to the things that are a yes. Say no to the things that are a no and allow it to come into fruition, right? Then we move into Virgo. Lovely Virgo. Virgo, really, again, about devotion. Virgo is like the priestess or the high priestess kind of vibe. Again, it's about presence. It's not about performance. It's about devotion. It's not about detail. So I'm telling you, honey, if we're focusing on the what out there, if we're focusing on the details, our frequency might go down. If we stay in the Taurus vibes of slowing down and the Cancer vibes of being home with ourselves, our frequency will go up when we slow down. And that brings accessibility to bring the things to us because we'll notice them. Our spiritual senses will be tuned in. Our radio dial will be so tuned in we won't miss the synchronicities that are around us, right? And so precision is the act of love. And by precise, I mean tuning your frequency. You are the instrument. You are the vehicle. And when throughout the week you're finding a little like, I'm not quite sure how to navigate, come back on to this space. Come back into like this mothership that we're creating and come into the resources or check the day again and just to kind of use it as a frequency calibration for your vessel, your own like soul ship that you are experiencing this human reality in. Because this is about fine-tuning your dials to the realities that you're creating. Tend what you planted during the first quarter moon. Remember, we had the new moon at the end of last week. Now we're a quarter of the way through the whole cycle to the full moon. And so we're tending what we planted, but with remembering that we're refining as we go what's a yes, what's a no in our soul operating system. And remember, our electromagnetic field, what are you allowing to come to your core? What's on the outskirts, right? As a like radar, and you're seeing something coming in, bleep, bleep, this is incoming. Does that feel like it's for me? Yes, or no, or maybe so. And then you ride authentically with what feels like you, using precision as your act of love, and you tend to the details. The mantra this week is about let the transformation run through you, right? Again, with Gemini and voice, I talked about transmission, transformation. It's about change. It's about shift. It's about evolution. It's about evolution, right? Okay, so how do we apply some of this for this week? We can do some things like we could check and see what is going on with Taurus for us. So we could ask, what house is my Taurus in? Because that might show me an area that I want to be steadfast. I want to remember long game. I want to hold in what I value. Venus rules Taurus, remember. So we've got those vibes this week. We could also look at Gemini. What house is Gemini in? Because that might be a place that my voice, my speaking, my messages, or my mindset, and maybe even an upgrade might be going on in here. Also an area that a lot of incoming ideas might be coming, and even messages from the outside world. And so tending with precision, what am I going to buy into? What am I not? We could also look at Cancer and what house that's in, because we're starting off this week with this strong Cancer vibe, and we've got Venus in Cancer for the next couple of weeks. Remember, we have Mars in Taurus for the next about month or so, longer maybe. So really looking at those houses can help. We can look at our chart, our birth chart, a little bit bigger to see what's going on there. And if we click to the transit chart, making sure that we're looking at the transit chart, that will help us to look at what's going on in here and here. And if you want to do that, you would scroll down. This is using the Astro Matrix app. You would scroll down and you could click on a couple of different celestial bodies, and then look at, well, what is the corresponding thing to give me some information. I would call that a nugget, like a nugget of gold. So this person could look at, okay, she's got Mercury in Gemini, she's got the Sun in Taurus, she's got Uranus. We all have this actually. These are the outer planets. So when we're all looking at what's going on out here, it's the same for all of us. So all of us will find the Sun in Taurus moving into Gemini this week. We will all find Uranus in Gemini. She'll be there for a very long time, a very, very long time. She's a slow moving planet. All the outside planets, Saturn, it can sit in a sign for 20 years, right? Uranus, Jupiter, those are longer way out there. And so they take a long time to move sometimes. Jupiter, for example, Jupiter's been in Cancer. It'll be 18 months altogether. So over a year, she'll be moving into Leo in June. So we've got a little bit of time there. But all these outer planets are going to be the same in our chart. They will all be in the same zodiac sign. The part that's different is what house it's in, which tells us the area of life. And as a professional life coach, I love looking at all the areas of life. And in life coaching, we call that a wheel of life. Astrology has one built in. And not only can we see our own destiny map story, but we can look at it in correlation with what's going on out there in humanity's big picture destiny story. But the fast movers are those like the moon, which moves through a sign or zodiac in 2.5 days. The sun, we know it takes about a month. We've been a month in Taurus season. Hello, Taurus suns. the Gemini suns will have their birthdays or solar returns. Again, we have a solar return when the sun matches up to where we were the day we were born. So when the sun goes around, round, it gets to right here, this person is having their solar return or birthday. We've put a lot of emphasis on the sun in pop astrology, especially in the Western world. And so all of those planets out there will be the same for everybody as far as sign, but different for the houses. On the inside, that is where, as most of us know, but if you're just beginning, good to know, these are where the same celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the planets, and the asteroids are in your birth chart. And then if you scroll down, you'll be able to see what looks like a grid, and you can click on different aspects that are happening. So you could look and see, well, this person doesn't have anything in their birth chart in Gemini, nothing to check there. They could go, oh, but in Taurus I have something, I have the moon. Maybe I want to see if anything's going on with the moon and I have any aspects forming there. Or maybe I want to check Cancer. Oh, wow, we talked about Mercury. We talked about Mercury lately, and we talked about Mercury rules Gemini. And so a lot about mindset, communication, voice. And I noticed, oh, Cancer was one of the things we could look at in a chart. And she has Mercury there. Maybe it would be good to look at Mercury and look on the grid to see is anything going on in Mercury. We could also go deep and look into our human design or our gene keys. And a couple places I think might be great to look this week. You could look at your own Venus, because Venus is kind of making a move into a new area. She's going to be in Cancer for the next few weeks. Mars is moving into Taurus for over a month. So we could look at what gate is my beauty. What gate helps me know what is beautiful to me in this life, in this human experience? What do I value? Well, this will tell me a little bit about my role there. What about Mars? I could look at Mars. Mars is in Taurus. This person has gate 28. Gate 28 might hold a clue about their role or their gifts around what motivates them or what drives them. And that's on a slow roll for the next few weeks. We could also slide into our gene keys if we wanted to. And I thought, the two that I circled a bunch, 64 and 28, ding, 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 they're here, right? 64 and 28. So even though it's not labeled here, we would know that is our Venus and our Mars. Those would be the ones on the right side. I did also circle the ones on the left side. For you, those of you who know what that is, you want to go as deep as you want. But if you're just starting, you might look at your gene keys IQ, your soul smarts, and your gene keys EQ, your soul's emotional smarts. And you can look at that a little bit to help bring some emotional intelligence and the gifts that you hold at either shadow level, maybe ego's getting involved, or your gift level, or more of an enlightened state if you're really wanting to evolve this week. And you could do the same with your IQ. You could look at your soul smarts, or a special intelligence that you hold when you don't come from your ego shadow, but you come from your gift or your enlightened state. Gene keys taking the same roles as human design, but breaking them down into shadow, gift, siddhi, which means ego kind of role that's playing, and you can kind of see that. Maybe watch, am I showing up doing what would kind of show as my ego characteristics if I looked at those gates or gene keys, or would I show up in my gift or even in more of an enlightened state this week? So what I wanted to really hit home here when we're applying in our lives, is that when we take these tools, we're really looking at those little specks of, they're so minuscule, all the elements in here that are represented also out there, and that snapshot of the moment we were born and the universe's space dust combines with our beautiful soul to make us the unique representation of the human that we are, this individual within the collective. And then when we find these little points, it's like alchemizing, going in, grabbing a gold nugget. You only need one that week, or a bunch, however many you feel like. Sometimes we don't have time for that. Sometimes we do. But what I find is, as we're on these loops going round and around in our story of life, coming home to ourselves every time, if you're feeling like you're in a challenge, congratulations, because you're at a threshold, honey. You're at a threshold. Go find the golden nuggets that you can alchemize, because it's your way through. It's your way through to collapse time, to collapse reality, to create a new. Einstein called it a wormhole. When we go through that bridge, our whole beingness goes from one place to another, right? So you are going through this portal of becoming to manifest what your soul's desiring, okay? So go ahead and tap into the conversation with the cosmos if you want to see the 3 powerful questions that correlate to the most powerful transits that I see this week, and then some deep dives to remind you where you might want to check in your chart. I'm loving you. I'm supporting you. Feel nourished. Come home to yourself and holla if you want to be in the space of connecting, sharing your shares, sharing what's coming up, having your chart read on Wednesday for our live Soul Connect. Wednesday at noon. Message me if you want to be there.